The Africa Road Race Championships in cycling have concluded. And despite the efforts of cyclists from various countries, such as Algeria's Islam Mansouri, Namibian Valens Ndayisenga, and the emerging Eritrean team, it was a pretty dominant performance by the South African cycling squad, who topped the medals table at the end of the competition. To look back on the event as a whole and give us his views on where next for African cycling, we are joined again by William Newman, President of Cycling South Africa. Thank you for joining us again, William. The South Africa team performed strongly as expected, including a sweep of medals in the elite men's race on Saturday. Now, were all your expectations met by your athletes?
Yes, definitely. From the beginning of the week, though, South Africa did not have it all its own way. If we look at the individual time trial event in the elite section, we did not win that event, and that was won by Ethiopia. And in the team trial, Eritrea won the team time trial. So South Africa really were under pressure coming into the road race on Saturday. But you know how amazingly well the riders performed to claim 4 spots, the first 4 spots, a clean sweep of the podium, as well as the under-23 title. So from that perspective, yes, I'm exceptionally happy with the performance. But not only the elite riders, we had the ladies, the women, the elite ladies, you know, making a clean sweep in all their events, which was fantastic. And then we had the juniors. For the juniors, we had some success in the team time trial as well as in the individual time trial for the men, but we did not podium in the men's junior road race, so that was an area of concern. In the junior women's event, we had a clean sweep there for the team time trial as well as the individual time trial, but the tables were turned in the road race where Zimbabwe had 1, 2, and we had a 3rd position. So if I look at the overall performance of our riders, then I am very happy. I really think that South Africa did exceptionally well, and it's also an indication that the standard is improving all the time in Africa. So we cannot take our medals for granted in Africa, but it's a good sign for African cycling that we have strong challenges from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, from Namibia, from Algeria. So it's really good for the sport that the standard is improving all the time.
Okay, now with so many winners to choose from, which cyclist from your squad stood out for you?
I think our under-23 men's winner, JD Julius, he had an exceptional ride. He's graduating from the junior ranks. I think it's his last year in the under-23 category. He's fresh from just winning the national title last week in Nelspruit in Mbombela. And he then went on to win the under-23 title. So he is a standout performance, definitely. If I look at the young junior, Greg de Vink, first-year junior winning the individual time trial, that was a fantastic performance. And then, you know, our best rider in the women's section, Ashley Moelman, Passio, she's won all the medals on offer for the elite women. So, yes, we've had some exceptional performances from our star riders, but a few of the youngsters have put up their hands and shown that, you know, they are capable of competing at this level, and we need to continue giving them the support so that they can further develop in the sport.
Okay, now the profile of cycling on the continent will surely benefit from MTN Quebec's inclusion in the Tour de France. Now, do you get a sense of increasing professionalism all round at this year's event?
Yes, definitely. If I look at the number of countries, first of all, 28 countries entered for the championship, and I think that is a new record. And they entered high-quality teams, and they performed very well. And also just the level of support, not only for the riders, you know, but for the whole infrastructure. You know, the team doesn't just operate with riders, but we've got well-trained mechanics, we've got coaches, and we've got managers performing at a very high level, supporting the riders. So yes, there's an increased level of professionalism, and I think they spurred on by what MTN Quebec has achieved by being invited to this year's edition of the Tour de France. So I think Africa is definitely on a high regarding cycling. And, you know, if you were there over the last couple of days, everyone was very, very impressed with the organization as well as the conduct of the riders and the way they performed. If I just look at the numbers in the elite bunch and the under-23 combined race, 108 competitors from 21 nations. And that was huge. That was fantastic to see such a huge number of riders, such a huge number of teams participating in the African Continental Road Championships. So, yes, I'm very happy with the way things are going, and we can just build on it from strength to strength. And, you know, we know African cycling is here to stay and just get better and better all the time.
Okay, so which nations do you see emerging as serious talents and competitors to South Africa's future dominance of this event?
Yes, I think Eritrea is right up there with South Africa. If I look at the medals at the last road race in the 2013 edition, the last edition of the African Road Championships, Eritrea had a clean sweep in the under-23 as well as in the elite section. So this time around, obviously, South Africa dominated the road race in the under-23 and elite section. But definitely Ethiopia, for them to win the individual time trial, that was something to be noted. So they've put up their hand saying that they are right up there. And in the junior ranks, we've got Morocco and we've got Algeria also doing very well. And also the young girls, the young juniors from Zimbabwe doing well, winning first and second positions in the junior women's event in the road race. And a rider like as a Namibian getting a third place in the individual time trial in the junior section. So there's a whole lot of nations, really fast-tracking their performances and their standard. And definitely South Africa is not taking the continent lightly, but it's great for African cycling. It's great for the Confederation of African Cycling that we've got this emerging talent and these nations, not only participating, but competing for the medals and winning medals. So African cycling is in a very healthy space. A couple of weeks ago, we've had the track African Continental Championships, and that is a stepping stone to bigger things. But I think the road has progressed much more. But definitely in tandem with track and the road, we'll see African cycling continuing to emerge as a force to be reckoned with on the world stage.
Okay, so then what is the most important next step for cycling on the continent? Is it more teams in the Tour de France, or is it increasing the profile of tournaments in places like South Africa and Rwanda?
Yes, definitely. What we'd like to see is a full Africa tour calendar where there are tours in all the nations affiliated to the Confederation of African Cycling, and we would like to see all our African riders participating on the African continent on a more regular basis, and therefore that puts them in line to gain valuable UCI points for the road race for the men. 31 December 2015 is the cutoff date for qualification for the 2016 Olympics. So really, this is a very important year for Africa. So we'd like to see as much participation from all the nations as possible during this coming year, but not only in Africa, they also need to be getting invitations to the bigger races in Europe. And, who knows, we've got Team M10 Quebec doing the Tour de France this year. And I'd like to see maybe one or two other African teams also emerging to take their place on the world stage, like in the Tour de France in a couple of years' time. So there are a lot of positives to be taken from this, and we're very happy with where African cycling is, and we as the Confederation of African Cycling will continue to give the riders as much support as possible.
Okay, Mr. William Newman, thank you for speaking again to Sports News Africa.